Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I post both solved and unsolved cases. If this might interest you, well, you've come to the right place. First of all, I want to thank all the new subscribers. Your support genuinely keeps the channel going and motivates me to continue digging into these cases. Today's case is definitely a recent one, as of the last ones I covered until now. There's still an ongoing investigation, and hopefully, will assist justice being found sooner than later. Now, imagine this for a moment. You're in Dubai. You have an important business meeting scheduled. A driver takes you to a remote location. You step into another vehicle, and from the moment on, you vanish without a trace. Days go by. Friends and family grow increasingly worried. And then, weeks later, a discovery is made that leaves everyone completely speechless. This is the chilling case of Roman and Anna Novak. A young Russian couple, Roman and Anna Novak, went missing in the United Arab Emirates at the beginning of October 2025. Russian authorities were actively investigating their case, which was believed to be a suspected kidnapping, but when their dismembered bodies were found in Ferjare, it was switched into a murder investigation case. Relatives of Roman and Anna, who lived in Dubai, reported their disappearance after they failed to keep in contact with them for several days. The young couple was last seen on October 2nd, 2025. That day, their personal driver had dropped them off in Hada, in proximity to the border with Oman. We're going to briefly describe this area in a bit. For what was described as an investment meeting with potential investors. Once they arrived there, the pair got into another vehicle, and this was the last time they were seen. A few weeks after their alleged disappearance, human remains were located in a remote area in the Dubai desert. Just to provide you with some context, I'm not really a crypto geek, so forgive me in advance for eventual blunders in this regard, but Roman Novak gained popularity in the crypto world back in Russia, being involved in a fraud. He claimed bonds with Telegram founder Pavel Durov. To be more precise, back in November 2020, a few years ago, Roman was charged with fraud and sentenced to 6 years in a prison located in St. Petersburg for defrauding partners in investment. After his release in 2023, on the lookout for a fresh start, he then moved to Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates, where he became a convinced crypto founder by creating a platform named Fintopio with the promise of quick crypto transfers, and the curious part is that he captivated the interest of international investors from Russia, China, and even the Middle East. In a nutshell, he made his fortune being able to pull in roughly $500 million, which is an insane amount of money, of course. Russian media reports that he had pulled off many scams before, including cheating business partners out of millions. At the time of the killing, Roman was once again under investigation for allegedly stealing more than £38 million from investors, pretending it was a business development. Well, let's start this deep dive. I was able to find Roman's Instagram account with nearly 19,000 followers, filled with images of luxury and excess. Exotic holidays in Italy, Disneyland, Korea, Indonesia, expensive cars, yachts, parties, a life that looked almost unreal. But what stood out most was his relationship with Anna, often referred to as his lady star, and his power. A May the 25th post captured the couple together outside Rome's Trevi Fountain, marking 17 years together. Here's what Roman wrote. 17 years together, 9 years since we threw a coin in this fountain. And guess what? We came back, like a sequel. With better outfits and the same love, plus a lot of gray hair. She still looks at me like I'm the main character. I still look at her like she's the plot twist I've never deserved. Rome didn't change much, we did, but in all the best ways. Another post with a similar vibe was posted on November the 24th, 2024, just 6 months prior to the former. You can clearly see the couple embracing behind the Disney castle in Paris. Roman wrote, "We've been together for 16 years. Thank you, my love, for this amazing adventure. You are a real Disney princess who tamed her monster. Love you." Nevertheless, Anna too was into social media. One of her posts, with pics taken in Bali, read, quote, "We are more together than apart. My parents often say, and this phrase has long been my soul. I hope someday I say this about you. I love you to the moon and back. Thank you for everything." The pair had this meeting scheduled on October the 2nd, 2025, so they were driven to Hada, a mountain resort area not far from Dubai, 80 miles to be more spot, to a car park. Investigators now believe they were being lured. They thought it would have been an investment deal with 3 Russian investors. In fact, once their private driver dropped them off close to the lake, Roman and Anna got into another vehicle with the supposed investors. This is the last time they would be seen alive. A day passed and no one heard from them, of course. Family members who would be in touch with them knew that something was out of character. Roman and Anna were reported missing. An investigation took place. Both Anna's dad and stepmom headed to Dubai to the couple's 2 young children. In other reports, it was Roman's relatives who flew to Dubai. Either way, the children have been taken care of. The United Arab Emirates Police unveiled the human remains in November 2025, even though the confirmation took place weeks later. According to Russian media 47 News on December the 1st, dismembered bodies were found in a secluded desert area near the city of Fujari, Dubai. I hope to have pronounced it correctly. Unfortunately, they were identified as 38-year-old Roman Novak and 37-year-old Anna. No one could believe this shocking news. Sticking to the United Arab Emirates, the bodies were located within a 500 by 500 meter area of desert, based on testimony provided by individuals arrested in connection with the case. The most disturbing piece of this puzzle is that they were found poured into concrete and buried in a remote stretch of desert, according to the Russian outlet Komsomolskaya Pravda. Roman and Anna's remains were discovered following the detention of several suspects in connection with the killings. Russia Investigative Committee stated that a criminal case for murder had been opened, following the unexplained disappearance of a married couple in the United Arab Emirates. It's undoubtful that such a gruesome crime is challenging for the authorities of the Arab Emirates, who always and everywhere declared their country as the safest in the world. What about the location, the villa where the horrific encounter had taken place? Heda is a small mountain town located in the eastern part of the Emirate of Dubai, near the border with Oman. Unlike the towering skyscrapers and dense urban life most people associate with Dubai, Heda feels like a completely different world. Heda is known for its rocky landscapes, winding roads, and relative isolation. The area sits roughly 80 miles from central Dubai and is far less populated, giving it a quiet, almost remote atmosphere. Its proximity to the Oman border, combined with its mountainous terrain and secluded locations, has made Heda a strategic transit point in the past, but also a place where movements can easily go unnoticed. Well, back to our story. Early reports suggested the Novaks had been dismembered and buried in a shallow grave. However, the reality of what happened is much more obscure. According to news sources, it appears as if the couple was lured to a rented villa that day, under the pretext of a meeting crypto-related. Once there, they were attacked and killed because they failed to provide access to their cryptocurrency money. The situation escalated at a certain point. Roman would have sent desperate text messages telling a friend he was stuck in the mountains on the Oman border and that he needed $203,000. These were the last texts being sent by him because all contact ceased. It seems like they got pressured, but since they refused to give their kidnappers what they were looking for, they were abducted, tortured, and stabbed. They were forced to sit opposite each other as they were stabbed multiple times. It's just too gruesome to detail. The suspects got wind of the fact that Roman and Anna's digital wallets were empty, having got their password, and that's when they needed to do something. This bitter discovery, the fact they wouldn't get paid, prompted them to act. I'm about to expose some specific details. The couple was put into strong polyethylene bags, and that's not all, because chemicals, industrial solvents to be more specific, were poured over their bodies in order to destroy DNA evidence and speed decomposition, and at the end they were poured into the concrete prior to be dumped in the desert. The discovery of the bodies has prompted the initiation of the formal process to repatriate the remains to Russia for burial. What happened looks so unreal that it's hard to wrap your head around it. I tried to find other details, but this seems like to be what has been currently revealed to the public. Both Russia and the United Arab Emirates law enforcement are actively working on this case, and were able to gain access to surveillance footage, which aided them to catch the suspects' movements. Phone data was also tracked down, and what turned out is that they got some useful information. The pair's mobile phones showed activity for many days after their disappearance, with signals in Hadda, Oman, and later in Cape Town, South Africa, in order to create confusion among investigators, prior to disappearing on October the 4th. According to Russian investigators with Lanta Petrenko, the murderers had accomplices who helped organize their abduction. Futanka, the St. Petersburg outlet, reported that 8 men originally from Russia are considered suspects for this killing. Among them, 3 were alleged organizers, and 5 hired intermediaries. Among the 3 Russians arrested at St. Petersburg airport stood out 33-year-old former police officer Konstantin Shot, considered to be the mastermind of this horrific plot. This man maintains his innocence, while Yuri Sharipov and Vladimir Dalekin pleaded guilty. In addition to that, 7 of the suspects had already been in prison in Russia. According to investigators, 4 out of the 5 intermediaries were used to set this type of investment meeting. The men got arrested. The issue is that some of the suspects claim they had no understanding of how wallets, keys, or transfers actually work. There's definitely room for some speculation in my opinion. Were they just expecting an instant payout and then panicked when there was no money at their disposal? My sincerest condolences go to the Novak family and closest ones who lost Roman and Anna, but mostly to the 2 children who will never get the chance to be raised up by their loving parents. I mean, the grief and pain they will have to face is just horrible. Stories like these prompt us to make wiser decisions in terms of safety. When you meet someone, especially strangers, you never know what the outcome is going to be, so make sure to stay in contact with trusted people, just in case something wrong might occur. Safety on top. This case is definitely a reminder. Choose crowded areas instead of secluded locations in order to be surrounded by other people. That's my personal opinion, honestly. We're not here for judging the couple's decisions or their past actions either. What we can say is that this by far wasn't a fair outcome. They didn't deserve this. Well, that's the end of this episode, guys. Let me know your personal opinions on this case. See you in the next one, and until then, stay safe and aware.